Have you ever felt like no matter how careful you are with money, you're still stuck? You save when you can, you skip the extras, you've got a job, maybe even a savings account, and still, your bank balance feels like a leaky bucket. Now think about this. Maybe you've got a friend like this too. He's not lazy, he shows up to work, lives modestly, cuts corners where he can, doesn't splurge, doesn't waste, but somehow, year after year, nothing really changes. Same paycheck, same stress, same feeling of just getting by. And the worst part, he thinks he's doing everything right. But what he, and maybe even you, don't see is this. You're not stuck because you're undisciplined. You're stuck because you've been following the wrong playbook. A playbook built on old money advice, outdated beliefs, and silent habits that quietly sabotage your progress. In fact, most people are carrying around 8 money habits that feel smart and responsible, but are actually keeping them broke. In today's video, we're not just going to list them, we're going to unpack them in a way that makes you go, damn. I've been doing that without even realizing it. And once we're done, you'll not only see these hidden habits for what they are, you'll know exactly how to break free from them. So what are these habits? That's exactly what we're going to break down in this video. Hello, you're watching Metanoia, where we bring you insightful videos on psychological principles to help you reshape your habits, emotions, decisions, and identity for lasting transformation. In this video, I will share 8 sneaky habits that are secretly keeping you poor. Let me give you a quick overview of what you'll learn in this video. First, I'll show you a common belief about happiness that sounds spiritual and noble, but quietly kills your hunger to grow. Then we'll talk about a mindset that disguises itself as humility, when in reality it's just fear wearing a mask. After that, I'll walk you through a dangerous habit that delays action. It tricks you into thinking you have more time than you actually do, and it's one of the main reasons people stay stuck. Then there's the trap of smart planning. On the surface, it feels responsible, but underneath, it's often just perfectionism and procrastination dressed up in spreadsheets. We'll also talk about how saving can sometimes become a shield, something you cling to out of fear rather than strategy. And I'll explain why being realistic with money might be the very thing shrinking your potential. Near the end, we'll unpack a habit that pretends to be self-discipline, but really just keeps you stuck in survival mode. And finally, I'll reveal one core belief about how money comes that's been programmed into most of us since childhood, and how it's quietly keeping you broke. Each one of these habits may seem harmless, but once you see them clearly, you won't be able to unsee them. And that's where the real shift begins. Plus, I'll show you how to break free from each one, with practical tools you can start using right away. Not just theory, real, actionable steps to help you rebuild your mindset, your money flow, and ultimately, your life. Let's begin. Let me tell you something I heard the other day. It really stuck with me. Have you ever heard of the term F you money? I'm not cussing at you, I promise. It's actually a mindset. Think of it like this. Imagine LeBron James. The guy is at the top of his game, one of the richest athletes alive. If a brand he doesn't like comes up and waves a giant check at him, say $10 million, he can just shrug and go, nah, I'm good. Why? Because he doesn't need it. He already has total freedom. Now maybe you're not LeBron, I'm not either. But picture this in your own life. Some big shot businessman comes to you with a fat check. 1 week of work, big money. And instead of jumping on it, you smile and say, no thanks. Not because you're arrogant, not because you're lazy, but because you're already free. Your bills are covered, your family's taken care of. You work only when you want to, with the people you actually like, and from anywhere in the world. That's what FU money really means. It's not about flipping someone off, it's about reaching that point where money doesn't control you anymore. Now let me ask you this. How would it feel if you actually lived like that? Sounds impossible? Come on, you've heard stories. People who hit that level where they don't even check price tags anymore. It's real. And here's the cool part, you don't need to be LeBron James to get there, you just need to know the roadmap. In fact, there's this author who's already achieved FU status, and he lays out exactly how he did it, step by step. That's what I want to share with you today. But before we go there, I want you to do a little exercise. Close your eyes and imagine your dream life. The car, the house, the vacations, the food on your table. Okay, are you done? Now open your eyes and write it down. Seriously, write the numbers. How much would it actually cost to live that way every year? Food, clothes, rent, trips, everything. Don't filter, just write. That number, that's your target, your destination. And to reach it, you've basically got two vehicles. Vehicle A is slow, it's like the bus. You sit back, someone else drives, and eventually you'll get there. This is saving, investing in index funds, building wealth little by little. Safe, steady, but slow. Vehicle B is faster, but you've got to drive it yourself. More control, more risk, more learning, but also you reach the destination way quicker. That's entrepreneurship, business, creating something of your own. So the question is, do you want the bus or do you want the sports car? If you're a bus rider, that's fine. You can watch some regular videos on investments. But if you want to try the sports car, the same ride the author took, then this is the path we're about to explore. Not get rich quick, but get free quicker. You know what this reminds me of? Think about that one guy we all know. Let's call him Mike. He's about 30, lives in a small apartment he rents, and every night he's lying awake staring at the ceiling asking himself, when's my break coming? When do I get my dream house? When do I finally get rich? Now Mike isn't lazy. He grew up with parents drilling the same advice into him. Son, if you want to be rich, save your money. Don't waste a penny. And Mike listened. Man, did he listen. He eats the cheapest food he can find. He lives way outside the city in a cheap place, even though his commute is a nightmare. He buys everything secondhand. If something's new, Mike's not touching it. His friends sometimes laugh and say, dude, treat yourself once in a while, but he always replies, new things don't make you happy, I'm fine like this, except he's not. Every time someone talks about rich people, Mike gets defensive. He says, oh please, they're either lucky, shady, or just living off family money. Guys like us, if we ever want to make it, we've got to grind day and night, maybe one day we'll get there. And when his friends ask, okay, then why don't you start something of your own? Mike always has a list ready. Not yet. First, I've got to improve my communication, maybe learn video editing so I can market properly. The timing just isn't right yet. And so years keep passing, with Mike waiting for the perfect moment. Now let me ask you, do you honestly think Mike is going to get rich anytime soon? The author of FU Money says, absolutely not. Because Mike isn't just following one wrong rule. He's trapped in 8 of them. And until he breaks free of those habits, his life will stay exactly where it is. So, want to know what those 8 habits are? Let's dive in. You ever notice how Keanu Reeves is almost more loved for being a person than for being a movie star? The guy's worth millions, but you'll spot him on the subway, chatting with strangers, or quietly donating to causes without making a big show of it. He even gave away a chunk of his Matrix earnings to the crew who worked behind the scenes. That's the thing, Keanu doesn't let money own him. He uses it to buy freedom, to give, to live life on his terms. And that's where people get it twisted. See, the first wrong belief is money can't buy happiness. Sure, money alone won't hand you joy on a silver platter, but it clears out the stress, the limits, the endless grind that actually blocks happiness. Want to travel? You need money? Want more time with your family? Money lets you buy back your hours. So no, money doesn't buy happiness directly, but neither does being broke. What it does is give you the space and freedom to build happiness on your own terms. And once you see that, you'll also see why the next belief is just as sneaky. It's the one where people whisper about this all the time. Let's go there. You know how some people roll their eyes the moment a rich person's name comes up? Oh, they must be shady. Probably stepped on everyone to get there. It's almost like there's this unspoken rule, rich equals jerk. But then you think about someone like Oprah. She's one of the wealthiest women alive, and yet she spent decades building schools, funding programs, giving people opportunities they never would have had otherwise. Love her or not, you can't exactly call her a jerk. That's the trap of this belief. If deep down you keep telling yourself, rich people are bad, your brain will never want you to become one. Who would like to wake up thinking, yeah, I'd love to grow into someone I hate? Nobody. And so, without even realizing it, you push wealth away. Here's the truth. Money doesn't change your character, it just magnifies it. If you're kind when you're broke, you'll be kind when you're rich. If you're selfish when you're broke, you'll be more selfish when you're rich. Oprah proves one side. We all know people who prove the other. So, yeah, the second wrong belief is, rich people are assholes. Some are, some aren't, just like poor people. Money isn't the villain, it's just a mirror. And once you clear that belief, you're ready for the next one. It's the sneakiest of them all because it sounds harmless. Let me explain. So, I had this friend back in college, great guy, super smart. But his favorite line was always, "Don't worry, I'll start later." Whether it was working out, applying for internships, or even chasing his own ideas, he kept pushing everything to someday. Guess what? That someday never really showed up. And here's why this hits so many of us. We tell ourselves we've got plenty of time. I'll write that book one day. I'll start saving later. I'll launch the business when things calm down. But between work, family, Netflix, and scrolling on your phone, the hours you actually have left for your dreams? Shockingly small. Think about Colonel Sanders for a second, the KFC guy. He didn't wait for some perfect retirement plan. He failed, tried again, failed some more, and kept moving until one day his recipe finally took off. If he had leaned back and said, "Hey, I've got time, I'll do it later," we'd never know his name. And we definitely wouldn't be eating his chicken. So, yeah, the third wrong belief is this: we have time. Truth is, we don't. Every day you wait is a day gone forever. And here's the kicker. If you think time is the big trap, wait until you hear the next one. It's even trickier because it makes success look like pure luck. So, you might have heard that phrase, "he just got lucky." People love throwing it around whenever someone makes it big. It's like luck is the only explanation for success. But here's the problem. If you really believe wealth is just about luck, then what happens when your chance doesn't magically show up? You wait, and nothing. Now let's take someone like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Sure, he's insanely successful today. But do you think he got there by stumbling into good fortune? The guy was broke at one point, living in a tiny apartment with $7 in his pocket. $7. Fast forward to now, and he's one of the highest paid entertainers in the world. That didn't happen because he got lucky. It happened because he outworked and outlasted everyone. Waking up at 4 a.m., training, building, saying yes to the grind over and over. That's the reality. Luck plays a role, but mindset and effort put you in the position to meet luck when it comes around. If Oprah lost everything tomorrow, do you think she'd stay broke? No way. She'd rebuild. Same with The Rock, same with anyone who's built real skills and resilience. So yeah, the fourth wrong belief is this: you have to be lucky. Luck matters, but it's never the whole story. You don't sit around waiting for it. You create the conditions that make luck find you. And if that one made you pause, wait until the next belief. This one's even sneakier because it sounds practical. Let's check what it is. We all know people like this. Maybe you even grew up around some. Folks who are obsessed with cutting costs everywhere. They drive 30 minutes across town just to save 50 cents on gas. Or they'll spend hours clipping coupons but never think about how much their time is actually worth. I've got a buddy who did something similar. To save on rent, he got an apartment an hour and a half away from his job. Sure, his rent was cheaper, but every single day he lost 3 to 4 hours just commuting. Now think about that. In those 3 to 4 hours, he could have been freelancing, building a side hustle, or learning a new skill that would eventually pay him way more than the rent he was trying to save. That's the difference between a scarcity mindset and an abundance mindset. Scarcity says, I have to hold on to every penny. Abundance says, there's plenty of money out there, and I can create more. And that's why the fifth wrong belief is, you have to be a cheapskate. Remember, cutting back has limits. Earning more doesn't. Which brings us straight to the next sneaky mindset. It's one people rarely question because it sounds so logical. Let's check that. A lot of people think building wealth is like planting a tree. You water it, wait decades, and maybe by retirement you'll finally enjoy the shade. Sounds safe, right? But it's also the reason so many people spend their best years just waiting. Now don't get me wrong. Chasing get-rich-quick scams is a disaster. Lottery tickets, shady MLMs, all that noise. But swinging to the other extreme is just as bad. Assuming real wealth has to take forever. Think about Elon Musk for a second. Love him or hate him, the guy didn't sit around waiting until 65 to maybe be rich. By his early 30s, he had already cashed out of PayPal with hundreds of millions. not because of luck, and not because he was unusually patient, but because he moved fast, obsessed over execution, and refused to drag his feet. That's the hidden truth. Wealth loves speed, not reckless rushing, but focused intensity. If you put your full energy into something, you can accelerate in years what others stretch over decades. So yeah, the sixth wrong belief is, getting rich has to be slow. It doesn't, it just has to be smart. And that sets us up for the next myth. The one almost everyone has heard growing up, the idea that hard work alone is enough. Most of us grew up hearing the same line on repeat, work hard and you'll be successful. Sounds noble, right? But if hard work alone made people rich, every construction worker, every nurse pulling double shifts, every delivery driver grinding 14 hours a day would be millionaires. And we know that's not how it works. Hard work matters, but it's not the whole formula. What really separates wealth builders from the rest is leverage. Look at Jeff Bezos back when Amazon was just starting. He wasn't personally packing every box and running to the post office. He built systems, hired teams, and created processes that multiplied his effort. That's leverage. One person's 10 hours a day eventually turns into thousands of hours when you add people, tech, and systems. No matter how tough you are, you can't out-hustle that kind of scale. That's the real flaw in this belief. If your only plan is work harder, you'll burn out long before you break through. But if you work smarter, if you figure out how to multiply your effort, you get results that are 10 times bigger without killing yourself in the process. So the seventh wrong belief is, you just have to work hard. Nope. You have to work smart, and you have to build leverage. And that leads right into the final trap. It's one of the most common excuses people use when they're this close to starting something new. Let's see what it is. I can't tell you how many times I've heard this one. I really want to start a YouTube channel, or a business, or a podcast. And when I ask, so what's stopping you? The answer is almost always the same. I'm not ready yet. I need a better camera, a studio, the right mic. Once I have all that, then I'll start. But here's the truth. That's not preparation. That's fear wearing a disguise. Fear of failing. Fear of looking dumb. So instead of starting, people keep polishing their plan forever. Think about Mark Zuckerberg. When he launched Facebook, it wasn't the slick platform you see today. The first version was a super basic website coded in his Harvard dorm room. It wasn't perfect, but it was out there. People used it, gave feedback, and he improved it over time. If he'd waited until everything was ready, Facebook probably never would have left that dorm. And that's the reality. You'll never feel perfectly ready. You don't need perfect. You need momentum. You start messy, then get better along the way. So the eighth wrong belief is this. You have to be perfectly ready. You just have to begin. And once you throw that belief out the window, you'll see the truth. Wealth isn't about luck or being ruthless or waiting forever. It's about clearing out these wrong mindsets one by one so you can actually move forward. Let's step back for a second. You've seen the Jeff Bezos story, starting Amazon in a tiny garage with nothing fancy. No big office, no army of employees, no perfect setup. Just a belief that it could work. Now maybe you see a piece of yourself in that, except instead of building, you're stuck in the same routines, the same paycheck, the same fears, telling yourself, I just need a better opportunity. But here's the truth, it's not just about opportunity, it's about mindset. Getting rich isn't about stumbling into the perfect side hustle or reading one more finance book. It's about rewiring the beliefs that quietly sabotage you every single day. So let me ask you, are you still driving car A, clinging to limiting beliefs, spinning your wheels, convincing yourself you're moving forward? Or are you ready to shift into car B, where wealth is built on clarity, courage, and conscious choices? Here's your move. First, spot one toxic belief that's held you back. It could be, money is hard to earn or rich people are greedy. Second, replace it with a belief that fuels action, like money flows to those who create value. And then, do one bold thing this week your future self will thank you for. Because if you don't change gears now, 5 years from now, you'll still be in the same place. You came here looking for why smart people stay broke. Now you know. It's not lack of talent. It's driving with the brakes on. It's time to release the brake. It's time to choose better thoughts, better beliefs, better moves. So, what's your move? We started with a tough truth: you're not broke by accident. And now it's clearer than ever. Wealth doesn't start in your bank account. It starts in your beliefs. This video wasn't just about habits. It was about the hidden programming that keeps you stuck in survival mode, playing it safe, avoiding risk, treating money like a paycheck instead of a tool. But financial freedom? It's not luck, it's choice. Bezos didn't wait for the perfect conditions. He started scrappy and thought bigger than his circumstances. That's the shift, like Robert Kiyosaki put it. The poor work for money, the rich make money work for them. So pause, ask yourself, which of these beliefs has quietly been robbing you of your future, and what happens if you finally let it go? At Metanoia, every video is created to help you unlearn survival and relearn personal power. If this sparked a shift, share it. And if you're ready to rewire more hidden habits, hit subscribe. Thanks for watching. And more importantly, thanks for choosing awareness over autopilot.